Well, folks, we're here with Adam, a.k.a. Quattro Mecham.
Thank you. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. And kind of unplanned, right? This was cool.
Yeah. Just driving through and on to my next project and called you up and you're like, hey, come on the show. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And we're in the new studio just getting the final touches here.
Yeah. It looks really nice. I'm loving it.
Not bad. Good new spot. Good new spot. All right. I always love having you come through Tehachapi. I thought it was pretty cool that 2 years in a row now you were here for the screw cancer event.
Yeah. It was a good time both times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. And meeting all the different people that go each year is always good to see. I recognize a couple of faces and was able to have good conversations. So it was nice.
Little local shout out to Tehachapi Cancer Foundation and Jim Wallace and that whole crew. They did an amazing job. And I hope raised a bucket of money,
yeah,
a wheelbarrow full of money.
Yeah.
That would be great because it all stays, right here in Tehachapi and helps out our locals. So good event. All right. Well, thank you for doing the podcast with me. I always appreciate that. And I was happy you did it. You've been in the industry quite a while.
Yeah. Almost 15 years.
15 years in the industry.
Yeah.
Before that?
I dabbled around in a couple of different jobs. And then I was in the military for 6 years right out of high school. So when I got out of the military, I was looking for a career, not just a job. So I had, a bunch of different jobs, and heard about wind and transferred over, and I've loved every minute of it. So found a career.
What'd you do in the military?
I was a military police officer, and I did a lot better at the infantry side than I did the police side of the task. So
okay.
I specialized in calling artillery fire, and helped train some of the battalion guys before they deployed. And it was kind of funny in the military, just like our industry, they throw you to the wolves. One of the training sessions, the colonel handed me a book and he says, tomorrow you're going to be training these guys how to jump out of a helicopter. And I was like, never jumped out of a helicopter. He goes, well, read the book. So I read the book and he came back an hour later. He says, it got put forward and you have an hour to finish your training before you give this class. And I was like, oh man. So I was reading everything I could, trying to get all the information, and went out. And it was an infantry group that had a lot of experience jumping out of helicopters. And so I gave them the class. They jumped out of the helicopter and I watched them from the ground. And the first sergeant of that platoon came up and he was like, man, that was the best class I've ever given. How long have you been doing this? And I said, 2 hours. So the military is a lot the same as our industry, where you're just thrown to the wolves and, make the best out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. I hope we're giving a little bit better training than that.
Yeah.
Especially to our trainers.
Right. Yeah. It's getting a lot better than it was when I first got in. When I first got in, the company I worked with had just bought a blade company, and they're like, do you speak English? And I was like, yeah. They're like, here's a multimeter. I was like, what's a multimeter? And they're like, well, you're the lead. Go teach this guy how to work on the towers. And I was like blown away. I had 2 months in the industry.
What?
Didn't know anything, and I was just blown away at how quickly I got thrown to the wolves.
Wow.
So yeah, it's getting a lot better. All the companies for the past, 5 to 10 years, they've always had a lot better system than that, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. A little scary, a little intimidating.
All right. MP 6 years. Mm-hmm. You got out. You did a few different jobs looking for a career.
Yeah.
Civilian police?
No. Like I said, I realized I was a better infantryman than an MP. So I don't know. I worked at a Walmart deli, and I worked for security for a while, caught shoplifters. I worked at US Synthetic, which was an amazing company. We built synthetic diamonds for drilling oil. Huh? And they taught me a lot, and I loved it. However, the pay wasn't where I wanted to be. And so that's when I was looking for a wind job. And I actually went to school out here at Airstream.
Airstream.
Yeah. And, they were still back in an port hangar back then, and that's what got me into the industry. It was the perfect class for me to, get my certs, get a little bit of knowledge. They were still learning how to get training going on back then, but it was still a really good program, and I loved it. And
What year was that?
2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
15. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So.
And then, so from there, your resume went out to a ton of companies.
Yeah, they helped you get a job in the industry, and I chose Upwind, and they were an amazing company. I loved working with them, and they ended up getting bought out by Vestas, and I always liked the small company culture, the family environment, and so when they got bought out, I was like, I just kind of want to go back to a small company. So
yeah,
kind of ventured out and found another company. That was Airways next.
Okay.
Yep. And I also attempted my own company, my own wind company back then. It didn't go very well. I didn't have any management experience, neither did the guys that we were starting it with. And so it didn't last very long. And after Airways, I went to Harvest.
Okay.
And had a real good time with them. Kind of became their training manager for a short period of time, and then they built a big facility and needed a more experienced trainer, So I moved on to WWS.
Oh, all right.
And they got bought out by Pierce, and I stayed with Pierce for a while. And then Altair popped up on my radar because of a Chance Valdez manager that I had with Pierce. Let me know about Altair, and been here ever since. I've loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we love having you. We'd like to take this time to thank another one of our wonderful sponsors, Podge Engineering. Podge Engineering, making wind and solar all we know it can be. Are your renewable energy assets underperforming or not performing at all? Did you expect many years of longevity and they're failing on you now? Podge LLC offers many customized, engineered products and solutions to get these assets back on track. Podge Engineering also performs root cause analysis, engineering services, procurement, and construction. Visit podge.org. That's PADGE.org. Remember Podge, making wind and solar all we know it can be. I have seen you have your own style about training and integrating new to industry, new to company people.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you find most effective?
So I learned a lot of my training from the military, and they do what they call the crawl, walk, run method. And I kind of added to it a little bit. So crawling is you're watching me, I'm doing it, and you're learning. And then, so the first day I have a brand new technician up there. I'm like, you're not touching anything today. You'll hand me some tools, and you're going to watch what I do. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be handing you tools. I'm going to be telling you what to do. So that's the walk phase. And then the run phase, and this is the hardest part, but it's you're over here doing your task, and I'm going to try to watch, but I need to back off and let you learn. And so I try to do that. And sometimes it depends on the person, and sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to get to that stage. But trying to back away and let them learn on their own is critical, I think. And then I always add another step where they train me. So now I pretend like I'm a new hire and I don't know anything. I don't know how to lock out the rotor. And I'm like, man, I just can't remember how to do this. Will you teach me how to lock this out? And so they come over and like, yeah. but I feel like that teaching is really where you get to know the process really well. And so I've always tried to instill that last little umph of, all right, now it's your job to train others.
That's how you become an expert.
Yeah.
You want to be great at something, teach it.
Exactly. And I firmly believe that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And it may not just take one day per step. You have to feel it out.
Absolutely. Every individual's different, and you might not do the same task day in, day out. If it's a maintenance, it's a little bit easier. You can say this task is the task you're learning today. And maybe that you could probably learn 3 or 4 tasks on the maintenance in one day as a new hire, but I wouldn't expect them to be able to teach me the whole maintenance on day 4. You know, it's not logical. But so yeah, it does take some time, and every individual is so different. A lot of the new guys, I've talked to you about this before, but they like to be on their phones a lot. And so it's one of my things, like if we're up tower, you're not on your phone unless you're getting an emergency call, getting a call from your family. We can take some time off for you to take care of your family. That's important. But if you're here learning, then you're learning. And if the guy that I'm training listens to that rule, he's kind of one of the guys I bring on as what I call a young buck. All right, this guy's got some potential. He wants to learn. He wants to do better. I'll take him under my wing and spend a little extra time with this guy. So I try to build my own career by how well they do their career,
Ooh.
Yeah. So the better they are, the better I look as their trainer. That's kind of my attitude on the matter.
All right. So your goal is to create new experts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was fun. This one customer, I was working the night shift, and I had a not a really new guy. He had probably 3 years in the industry, but he was new to troubleshooting. And him and I were doing night shift together for a real long time. And the customer was like, "How are you guys adjusting the baloofs on the pitch rams?" And so I was like, that's a good question. How are we doing that? and my newer guy walked him right through the process, 100% perfect. And that's what I want. So,
okay.
I don't want to be the guy telling the customer how to do it. I already know how to do it. I don't need to prove it.
Yeah.
But my new guy knows how to do it, and that means a lot more.
Is that when they graduate from young buck? What's the next phase?
I never really named the next phase, but
Mecham School of Training.
Right. Yeah. No, I think they always stay as young buck in my brain. Like, oh, how's your career going, man? Tell me what you've been up to. We have a guy in our company, Cortez, and man, I love that guy. But he was one of my original young bucks, and I was his first lead in the industry, and man, you look at him today, and he's so good. He's amazing, and watching his career grow has been incredible. I think he's got about 8 years in the industry, and man, I call him for advice, and that's what I want. So,
God, that's fantastic. Yeah. All right, when was the first young buck? How far back are we going?
Probably Cortez, to be honest, because I was really learning my own career early on, and so I felt like the young buck trying to gather all the information, and I can contribute a lot of that growth to a buddy of mine named Bob. He taught me how to do pitch rams. Looked at that task, and I noticed that a lot of people hated doing it so much that even if they knew how to do it, they wouldn't tell anybody they knew how to do it. And I was like, that's where I want to build my career, And so I stuck with him, and he taught me so many good things. And so I'd say after I left him was kind of when I started bringing on the young bucks and really focusing on building the younger generations of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Cortez was right after that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What company were you and Cortez at then?
Harvest.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does go back a ways.
Yeah.
It does go back a ways. All right. And Bob, was he a mentor, a manager?
He was a mentor. He was my lead tech. And man, him and I did everything together, before work, after work. He traveled around in his motorhome. We called him Bob Money. And just because he set up his finances in a way where he just lived off of per diem. And all of the rest of his money went towards retirement. And man, that guy, he just knew it. He knew how to make things work. And so I took not only like industry advice from him, but life advice, He was a good friend. Yeah, he's a good guy. Still is a good guy. He didn't die or anything. I kind of made it sound like he's gone, but no.
Retired yet?
I don't think so. I think he's a manager on a site. I kind of lost track of him. past couple of years, but I still think about him a lot. But phone numbers change, and man, how do I get a hold of that guy? So
He helped teach processes.
yeah. So when I first got into the industry, it was follow the procedure, 100% don't vary, right? And on the pitch ram procedure, there's this beam you're supposed to drill a hole into, and he was like, that takes way too much time. We're not going to do that. We're going to change the rigging here. And I was like, oh, it was the first time I ever watched somebody like very out of the procedure. And I was like, oh man, that's a possibility. Cool. Because I have a background in with US synthetic, learning lean fundamentals and things. And so it was kind of an eye opener, like, oh, we can do this. And my manager at the time, Brent Province, he allowed us to kind of, as long as it was safe, right, to vary from the procedure a little bit to make the process better. So that was a big eye-opening moment for me. Okay. And I love coming up with new ideas to make things work. And, it doesn't always work out. That's kind of how the world works. But the group that I was with, Bob and Cham, and the fourth person kind of rotated out a little bit. But I was with those two guys for a real long time. And when my plans didn't work out, we call it getting Mechamized. So we'd get back to the shop just after getting beat up all day. And we'd be like, wow, we got Mechamized today. But when my plans did work out, it really improved the process. And, that group of guys really helped grow that ambition for me to make things better.
All right. Tell me I'm a student of lean. I love lean. I got my first training in 2003, I think.
Okay.
Here in Tehachapi, manufacturing facility. They brought in, some Japanese guy. He traveled with translators, even though he spoke English.
Right.
And a whole entourage of people. And it was like a month long.
Yeah.
And we retooled and reformatted and replaced everything in the shop. We couldn't move the wind turbines, but we could move the people. Mm-hmm. You can move the tools, you can move small parts, consumables. So that's how it ended up flowing. And
yeah,
I loved it. I had a great time. And then years later, then through Six Sigma, and then years later, lean again. And got not only trained 3 more times, but the opportunity to train others. In today's fast-paced industry, having the right tools isn't just an advantage, it's essential. That's where ETI Energy Tools comes in. With over 75 years of industry experience, they deliver strategic procurement solutions that enhance safety, efficiency, and cost savings. ETI provides industrial tools, safety gear, test and measurement equipment, and heavy repair solutions, all backed by a vast network of manufacturers. Whether it's tool kitting, PPE standardization, or high voltage tooling, ETI saves companies time and money while ensuring they have the right tools for the job. Contact ETI at etienergytools.com to learn more and gear up for success. Tell me what you love about lean.
Oh man, it just makes everything so much easier. It really does. And US Synthetic, it was so highly encouraged. We had to do 10 small improvements a day. And then once a month, we had to do a big project. And it was more of a team effort to make that thing happen. And I loved watching. I was in the research and development portion. And so we got new parts from the engineers and like, hey, see if this works. And we had to learn really fast, and watching the growth and how to move the machines around to make it a little easier, it was fascinating. I think my favorite project I was on, one of the ladies I worked with, she was like, man, these try to explain it. The amount of diamond dust we're putting in this doesn't seem to be exactly accurate every time, and it's making these issues. So her and I got together, and I found out that the can we were putting the diamond dust in wasn't the same size. And that's it was the diameter that was changing a little bit. Oh. And so all we had to do was contact the manufacturer and tell them to tighten up their calibrations, and boom, that fixed the problem. And the company always told you how much money you saved the company annually or made the company annually. And we saved, I think it was like $173,000 a year. And that felt good,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's really how I fell in love with it. And so having an opportunity in wind, finally getting that leadership that was like, no, let's try to improve the process. It really felt good, and I felt really valued, and yeah, it just really helped build my career to where it is right now.
Yep. Kaizens, right?
Kaizens.
Small an improvement. And then, if you accept the fundamental of it, you would say that if a process isn't improving, it's deteriorating. So
Yeah.
even though something is great, maybe not have a problem, if you didn't find a way to improve it every year, probably is a problem.
There probably is somewhere, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's always a way to improve it somewhere.
And then Gemba, you know this term?
Yeah.
You know what it means?
I don't
this
remember. No, it was a long time
Go
ago.
and see. I think it's go and see.
Oh, where the management comes and looks at the process and
Well, anyone, right? So it's go to, if you want to improve something, you need to go to where that's occurring. And it may be on a shop floor, maybe in a lab, maybe in the field, up tower. But you can't fix it unless you go and see first what's happening in reality. Yeah. And then define your problem statement, which I think was always my hardest, right? That my lean in IFTCon, I'll just say, is like my favorite lean leader I ever worked with. I'd have my problem statement. Didn't matter how good I thought it was. He could pick it apart. And it was like you could never get past that stage. And he made that the hardest step one. So he'd say, well, what makes you say that? And you tell him, all right, why? How much? Now it's numbers, right?
Yeah.
How do you know it's a problem? You have any data?
yeah.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, the 5 whys.
Yeah. It's not a feeling at him. He'd say like that to me. He goes, prove it's a problem, or else we don't go to work.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to introduce you to him someday.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
We'll have fun talking about those processes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Those problem statements. And then, you always get stuck there with me, or at least I got stuck there. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't stay with US Synthetic very long, maybe 6 months. So I never made it to like a black belt or anything.
Sigma? Six Sigma?
Yeah, correct. But I still had that want to learn more,
Did you do the green belt program then?
So I wasn't there long enough to get any of it.
Yeah.
I went through the training that they basically gave everybody and just the daily routine of it. But no, I didn't get certified on any of the belts. Maybe it's an ambition I could venture forward with a little bit heavier.
Yeah, maybe. And there's differences between Six Sigma and Lean. Either way, it's a problem solving process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody should have a problem solving process. Pick
Yeah.
what you like the most.
Yeah.
I did get the green belt, but man, much bigger fan of Lean than Six Sigma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Six Sigma always seemed impossible to achieve. Parts per million kind of statistical
Yeah.
focus. All right. Well, this makes sense that you had that Lean, training and introduction, that then you found ways to put it into practice
Yeah.
to speed things up.
Yeah. So I really focused a lot of my time and energy on pitch rams because nobody else in the industry wanted to do it. So I wanted to make it the best. And so now when the crews that I've taught over the years, I run into them again and they're like, man, the way you do pitch rams is so much easier than the way the procedure reads, and it's a lot safer too. And that's important. So I've really, really enjoyed knocking down the time, making it faster. Altair's given me the opportunity to make some specialty tooling for it. And it's just incredible. I love working for a company that gives you all the opportunities for those things,
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I love that stuff too. And, it's not too expensive. Yeah, you spend way too much for a tool, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Right? And you gotta, I love the innovation. So no, your new pitch ram tools are cool. I hear one of them is going back into design mode.
That's true.
With some improvements.
It was just a little bit smaller than we had hoped. And we didn't know that until we tested it out. So we got to test it out last week. And we just need it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to the drawing board a little bit and get a new sample. But that's how you do it. You get a prototype, you try it out, figure out the flaws, and that's part of continuous improvement. So
yeah.
it's
And I think we're going to go away from aluminum, go to a heavier steel,
Yeah.
and then you need to change jaw sizes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total length was good.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so nice. So basically, what that tool is for is threading or unthreading the pitch ram. And I've heard nightmare stories from other technicians where they hook a wrench to it and they're just hammering all day trying to get these off. And man, we hooked up that tool. And Cortez, I was talking about him. He's done hundreds of pitch rams with me. And he was like, man, this is the best tool I've ever used for this task, you know? But so Gamesa makes a T-handle. They have a little grommet on there, and you put it on. It's just hard to get on there, and it falls off, and it slips, so it doesn't work real well. And so this kind of stops it from the slipping is what this tool does.
Right.
But it still has the T-handle idea. So when you're unthreading it, you twist it, and then you can come over here and grab it again and just keep twisting and twisting and twisting. Man, it was so nice. It was so nice. Yeah. Cortez was like, that's the best tool I've ever used, and it still needs a little tweaking. But
All right.
yeah, it was good to see somebody else get in there and use my idea.
I can't wait to see Mark 2.
And I have to give credit to Andrew Betts for helping me create that tool. So it wasn't just me. It's always the team, you know. And Bob and Brett Province and Chance Valdez for giving me the opportunities to improve, you know.
You've talked about, tell me more about managers. You have a couple that are pretty important to you that you've learned quite a bit from. What's that like?
Okay. So when I was in the military, I had a squad leader, the best soldier I've ever met in my life. He knew everything off the top of his head. And he would always sit us down and really teach us life lessons. You know, you're a young kid in the military. You think you're the greatest thing in the world. But, you know, when somebody really takes the time out to sit down with you and educate you on more of life, like a father figure, it really means a lot more. And so I've always tried to lean on the management that kind of took that role on a little bit, where you give them an idea and they're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's give me something to work with that idea. Because I think our industry really struggles with, especially with procedures. This procedure says to do it this way. We don't deviate, period. Right. And so I really love working with Brett Province and Chance Valdez for that reason. They're like, no, let's see if there's a better way. And if you can show me it's a better way, then yeah, we'll create our new procedure for the task. And I think there's a huge gap between engineers making a procedure and technicians actually up towered doing the work. And I think you'd get that from a lot of technicians saying, man, you can't do it the way that they did it in the warehouse, you know? And so there's a lot of room for improvement on the technician side through the procedures that those managers really helped me grow with. And so I've always really focused on trying to learn from those guys that as much as I could, and you know, teach it downward too. You know,
It's the difference between we talked about this, the procedure and the process.
yes,
Right. They the old saying, more than one way to skin a cat. We won't talk about that here, but I talk about like changing tires.
Yeah.
Right? You could write down the procedure on how to change a tire. It's very simple.
right,
And then you could go and do it, and you jack up the one tire, you jack up the whole car, however you want to do it. And then you watch, and it might take an hour. Then you watch NASCAR, and all of a sudden they found a process to do the same procedure in
seconds,
seconds.
yeah,
In seconds.
yeah,
Right? And it's all the same procedure.
yeah,
Take the wheel off, put the wheel on, right?
right,
But they have a process.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the difference. And you can't, no one person does it, right? It takes
Yeah.
a team.
yeah.
It's not easy. All right. So squad leader, mentor, father figure. So investing personally.
Yes. I think that's huge because Sergeant Takata, he taught me life lessons that I'll never forget. He had this ability to network with people, much like yourself, where it's just anybody he talked to, it's like they knew each other since they were 5 years old. And I was like, man, how do you build those connections? And so he sat me down and really worked with me on that. And still a work in progress. I struggle remembering people's names a lot of the time, but yeah, it's networking is so critical. And so I like to learn those things from people. Where everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and so when somebody's strong in some area that I'm really weak, I like to latch on and learn.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Or I don't look at it at all.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'll never be good at that.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't like cooking. I have no desire to go watch somebody cook.
Same.
Yeah.
My wife is brilliant at it. So I got good at cleaning.
Yeah.
I'll do the dishes and the cleanup, around. And that's my fair contribution to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Yep.
Okay. And what about Chance?
So I've worked with Chance for probably 5 years now. And again, he's just one of those guys that you can approach with anything. And he's willing to teach you. He's willing to spend the time on you. He's willing to, fight for you. He just cares about the people, and that matters to me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's one of those people that I'll follow to the battle zone with. So
yeah, I think what's happening, at least I don't know, it kind of feels like society, but in our industry, folks wanting to promote and grow their career in like a leadership, call it manager, call it whatever you want to do, and you go and you learn the mechanics of it, but what I try to talk about with a lot is the culture of it, but more simply, how do you become someone that other people want to go work for?
Yeah.
I mean, you just said follow them into battle, or
yeah,
is that what you said?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, how do you become a person that others will follow into battle if you want to be a manager?
Yeah. Well, it has to be a personal connection. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are extremely intelligent and smart, but they don't have the emotional connection. And yeah, that's a great guy to call for advice and things like that. But if he's not willing to show up on his day off to help you out with something, I don't know. There's something missing there,
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's above and beyond.
Yeah.
That's above and beyond.
Yeah.
Okay. Something about work, though. I mean, like just the day to day. Are there traits or processes that you see some managers, are that they really excel because of how they lead, maybe how they communicate?
Yeah. So Chance is one of those guys. Doesn't matter what he's doing. He could be in a meeting. You call him. Text come first. He will break away from the meeting, take the phone call. What's going on? And if you're just calling to, hey man, how's your life going? Who like, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you later? Yeah, no worries, right? But if it's something that is important, he'll stay on the line with you, and whatever he's doing is a side task at that point. So that matters. And a lot of managers. There was a company I worked for. I'm not going to say their name, but I didn't even know who my manager was for 4.5 months, and the sales guy was my manager, and he didn't know anything about wind, but he was my only connection with the company, and I felt lost. So there was that was an extreme example, but there's a huge gap between the emotion of it. Like I said earlier, I like the family environment.
Yeah.
That's why I stick around with the smaller companies. And, when you're a number, it seems like you don't matter. And I want to matter,
It sounds like that's connected to why you stick with smaller companies.
It really is.
Or for the most part.
And also it goes into why I grab a young buck and like, hey, stick with me and we're going to grow together.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about small companies.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms. What's one of the most bizarre jobs you've done?
Well, that first job I had was Altair, where the blade was broken in half. I don't have a lot of MCE experience. So even though I had a lot of time in the industry, I showed up as the new guy. And I was just like, oh, how are we on earth going to figure this one out? But the team we had out there was 100% on point, and they knew everything that was going on. And I got to learn a lot. But watching that half a blade come down the tower was intense. I was just blown away. So
I like that. Most bizarre job was the first one with Altair.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, oh yeah, North Scope.
That was a good time. We got a lot of good pictures on that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
All right, bizarre for you, not bizarre for other people. That
Right.
Because there are so many that love that kind of work.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them either.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've wanted to stay away. Happy to lose.
Yeah.
Because there are people that love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler Hamlin, man, as soon as he got a taste of it, he's like, I need more.
That's right. Y'all got some more of those. Yeah. Heavy lifts.
Yeah. Well,
that's good. Okay.
Yeah. Once again, everybody's different. Like we were talking about those Airstreams boys we met. Guiding them into the right company to fit their personality is important. So.
Yeah. All right. Any weird things, like any myths out there that are?
I love hearing like the locals that aren't in wind.
Okay.
I had on the roof of one of the houses near a wind turbine, it said wind turbines cause cancer, and the guy like abandoned his house and moved. And I met this one guy. He was like, "So, tell me seriously, when the world comes to an end, are those going to turn into helicopters where the elite get to fly into space?" And I was like, absolutely, man. That's part of my job, is to make sure they have a nice bed and things like that.
Of course, you lean right into it.
Of course I do. I mean, you couldn't be in our industry without leaning into that one. So yeah, I love those bizarre thoughts that the people that aren't in wind come up with. Yeah. Gosh, I had another one of those. I can't remember. It's not important, but yeah, those are always a good time to, and I always lean into them. You have to. Yeah.
No, right. I got 28 years. I can remember putting wind turbines in Iowa, for example. A lot of time out there, and farmers started talking about how it's now so windy. Never used to be this windy. Do you have any data that supports that? Because that's why they're here.
Right.
Because it's always been that windy.
That reminded me of my other story. Okay, so I just got finished with my tower, came back to the shop, and there was a lawyer and this lady like following me in, and they're like, "Hey, we need to talk to your manager," all mad. And I was like, "All right, let me introduce him." And it was Brent Province again. And so I introduced him, and the lawyer's like, "Your wind turbines blew my client off the road." And Brent, without hesitating, says, "Follow me for a second." He walks outside. He says, What way is the wind blowing?" And he's like, "That way." And he says, "What way are the turbines facing?" And "We don't have a case, do we?" And he's like, "No, we're catching the wind, not making wind." And so they just walked away, and I was rolling laughing. It was great. Yeah.
I've leaned into that one too a few times.
Yeah.
It's hot here. We're putting in big fans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hot.
Yep.
I actually heard about a lawsuit, like a minivan blew off the road, tried to sue the wind turbines.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in Texas.
Yeah.
Trying to think about that.
Well, that one got shut down pretty quick. That was in Abilene. So
Yeah.
yeah,
They all do.
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what causes cancer. Yeah, every time I go buy something at the store, it seems like there's labels on it. Everything you buy it might cause cancer.
Microwaves. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Cell phones
right.
and foods you eat.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
There are warnings about cancer on foods.
yeah.
I mean, why do we make it food then?
Right. It's a good question.
But no one's telling you you'll eat a wind turbine.
Right. Yeah. Learn about a food forest. That'll fix the problem.
Food forest. Tell me about your food forest. I love this story.
I love it. So my nephew's one of the best in the world at growing food forests. They don't look great. They look like a jungle, but man, there's so much food that comes out of those things. And so he's growing some food on my property, and man, we were pulling out broccoli stalks that were just insane, right? They're just huge. And you could have fed 40 families. And I have a quarter of an acre plot of land. It was insane. And it wasn't just broccoli. He has everything growing there. He calls me up. He has his own YouTube channel. He films it and he teaches people about the plants and stuff. But he's been to a lot of different places around the country and learned how to grow from like the experts. And it's incredible. And the amount of food and the taste of the food when you're getting fresh out of the garden. I mean, a lot of people have a garden, but a food forest is 7 different layers of food. Mm-hmm. And it's just the way food grows in nature. You know, you go to Indy Forest and you'll see rooted plants and you'll see bushes and you'll see things that look like weeds, but you know, and then you have medium trees and then tall trees. It's important to have that 7 layers. And so he goes around teaching people that, and man, he's just absolutely incredible. So
what's his YouTube channel called?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me look it up. It's Bird spelled with a Y. Byrd Hemingway.
Hemin?
Trying to find it. It cut it off on me. Okay. Hemenway.
Okay.
And he's growing some stuff out there in Texas in the freaking desert that would blow your mind.
I'm going to check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think he's working on a 5-acre plot of land with a greenhouse. And so my property is just a side hobby for sure, but it's incredible what he does. Yeah.
What other hobbies do you have?
I love hiking.
Hiking.
Yeah, that's where I find my peace. So I actually love hiking out here in Tehachapi. Andrew Betts and I would always, when we had some time off, hit the highest peak. And I like
Water Canyon Road.
Yeah, yep,
yeah,
that's the one. And I would always bring a backpack full of beer, and anytime we see somebody, hey, you guys want a beer? You know, so it's always a good time. And when Andrew and I were out in Palm Springs last, we were out in that Yucca Valley hiking all over the place, and yeah, that's where I find my peace. Some people find it in the ocean. I need the mountains.
I should have brought you out to Bear Valley. We have like 50 miles of trails out there.
Cool.
I know.
Well, I'm sure I'll be
back
back
about that.
another time. Yeah,
He'll be back.
Love it.
Yeah, hiking brings you the peace.
It does. Yeah, A campfire. Nothing's more peaceful than a campfire. My kids, when I'm with them, I take them up in the mountains and make a little dinner on the campfire, and man, they love it.
Yeah.
Can we go to the mountains again, Dad? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've always loved camping too.
Yep.
Something about an afternoon nap out in the grass in a mountain with nobody around.
Yeah.
It's like not a better nap out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
our ancestors had it right.
Good day that. Yeah. I know. I got a couple high altitude ones planned for this summer and some lower ones too. But
cool.
I look forward to the darn nap more. I'll go walk 14 hours. Just let me have a nap.
Yeah.
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 Or 14 miles rather, not hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Hiking.
Yeah. I used to be big into soccer, but then I got in the Army and got fat and lazy. So
you took care of that.
Yeah. No, I just soccer was a big part of my world growing up as a kid, but I don't know. Hurts my body a little bit too much to really enjoy it anymore, but I'll kick the ball around with the kids a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, I just try to focus my time on my kids.
Yep.
Play video games with them. Mm-hmm. So
that is cool how you can be separated physically, but be playing the same game and
Yeah.
talking together, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the best way for me to stay in contact with my kids is through video games.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the video game places are kind of dangerous. So I kind of use it for a way for me to see who they're talking to and talking with, and make sure that their online safety is on point. And man, they've got it down. Like somebody will start talking to them. They're like, no, I'm just trying to play a game, you know? And so I don't worry about my kids with predators online, just because I'm always there with them. Or not always, of course, but I'm on there enough with them that I can see how they communicate with others. And yeah, I feel safe. So,
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was just, I'll just say all the communication tools and the internet communication tools were just getting popular. My kids were, halfway grown. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as it started to come in, I started to freak out.
Yeah.
Like, so anyone can contact you?
yeah.
Yeah. So security's a big deal there.
It is. And that was a big part of why I focused so much time playing these little kid games with my kids. I mean, it's dull, but it's important to spend time with the kids on that and make sure they're safe. So
Yeah. But I mean, even if you're at home, board game.
yeah. Oh,
It's not the game that's, exciting. Yeah, it's dull, but you're doing it together and having laughs as a family.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, bonding and having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Way to do it while you travel.
Yeah.
Let's thank our friends over at Renew Safety, your proactive partner in safety solutions. With comprehensive safety consulting, ensuring compliance with all safety regulations and standards. Expert staffing solutions, providing trained safety professionals tailored to your project's needs. Commitment to sustainability, promoting a safe and sustainable working environment. Contact Renew Safety at info@renewsafety.com and speak to one of their industry experts about their proven track record for safety management on numerous projects. Or perhaps you're looking for construction safety staffing, contractor monitoring, incident investigation, or program development and training. Check out Renew Safety at renewsafety.com. I don't think we put any dad jokes into this podcast.
Oh, man,
that seems to be something you and I had in common.
That's what we're known for. Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Yeah. Made one about how tacky your pins are.
It's really tacky. You met my step ladder.
Yep.
Didn't meet my real ladder.
Yeah, it's fun because at work, a lot of the technicians I work with, they get so sick of my dad jokes. They're like, oh, shut up. I love it. My kids roll their eyes on me all the time, too. It's great. We actually play when we're on a long car ride, the kids and I, we play games in the car.
Yep.
And one of them is we have to make up jokes. Somebody will give a subject like, tell me a joke about rocks. And so sometimes it takes a minute to come up with a good joke. But my oldest son got me on one. We were driving through this town called Washington. And he goes, Dad, why do they call it Washington? And I was like, educational mode. I was like, well, our very first president, and he goes, no, because they wash a ton of clothes. I was like, oh, you got me, bud. You got me.
That's great. All right. And you're training young comedians.
Yeah.
On dad jokes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we always do something on car rides. We talk a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good times.
It seems like it doesn't matter what the vacation is. At least I look back and hear now from my adult kids. They remember the car ride the most.
Yeah.
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 Which at the time when we were going through it seemed like the most stressful part of the whole thing.
Right.
But they had the most fun in the car.
Yeah.
Didn't matter where you're going.
I'm really adamant about not getting a screen in the car. A lot of families do that. Oh, I just need the peace. Have the kids quiet on the car ride. That's where I spend my time with my kids is, they love it and I love it. And we get a lot of creative things going. We'll tell stories back and forth. I'll say a sentence. They'll say a sentence. We'll just make up a story. And yeah, it's good times.
Ooh, the yes and game.
Oh yeah, we play that. Yeah. Uh-huh. A lot of I Spy.
I Spy, right? Yes, and. Holy smokes. Well, all right. Well, what's next? What's next for you after you leave Tehachapi?
Well, I got 3 pitch rumps to do out in Palm Springs, V90s, and going to be teaching a crew on how to do those. And then I'm going to be heading home for a while and kind of helping Chance out on the management side.
Yep.
And so I have some learning to do, and couldn't ask for a better mentor to guide me through the challenges I'm going to come across.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a new step for me, and it'll be exciting.
Are you looking forward to that?
I am.
Okay.
There's a lot of weaknesses, I feel, right?
Well, I remember, you and I just did a 12-week class together, so I remember your position on
Yeah.
manager jobs.
Yeah. Well,
So-
my goal and my ambition is training, right?
Right.
And but I don't mind filling in roles getting to that stage, right? And the way I look at it is, if I want to be a troubleshooter, but I'm tasked with doing the maintenance, I still get to do the maintenance. It's not like no, I'm not doing that. There's a lot of learning to happen on that maintenance that will help you with the troubleshooting, right?
Yes.
And so for me, I'm looking at this as I get to learn a lot of my weak points from Chance and grow with somebody who's mentoring me. So I'm not looking at it as a bad thing at all. It's a growing experience for me, and I actually look forward to it. And he's kind of maxed out and could use a hand. So
Yeah, he's maxed out.
I'm excited to fill in where I can.
Yeah, okay, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, where are we? We're in June. I don't know when you're coming back through, but I'm looking forward to when that happens.
Okay. Well, depending on the weather, maybe next weekend. I don't know. We'll see.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What's next weekend?
Well, I'll be done with that project heading home.
Oh, on your way out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to fill it out. Monday's going to be a high Wednesday, so it's just tool inventory, getting everything set up and prepped and ready. But from what I'm seeing, it looks like the rest of the week should be good. So
Nice.
yeah,
One a day on that turbine model.
one a day on that one. I'm not doing my
Not two a
idea
day.
of 3 a day. Yeah, that's the old end goal. I want to get 3 pitch rims done in a day. That's where I'm building my process to. And we have a good crew that I've trained way back in the past, and Altair in general has really strong technicians that you could pick pretty much any of them and just throw them in there and take them 2-3 days to learn it,
Yep.
So I'm not worried about it. I think we have a good plan in place, and look forward to seeing how that rolls out.
Some of it might be the turbine models too. Like some turbine models might be a 1 a day, others a 2.
Yeah.
And you might find your 3 a day one out there somewhere. But
Well, we learned last week on the Vestas ones that my idea isn't as good on those as it is on the Gamesa. So there's just a couple little things that we didn't have the right bolt size in our idea. So the pitch block, for example, they have bolts that go in there, and the Gamesas have all threads. And man, that messed up my idea quite a lot. Just that one little thing. So there's some stepping stones, but right now the Vestas is just a 1 or 2 a day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know it was what you talked about. Like it was a hard day.
It was.
I won't tell everybody in the world how long it took yet, but like on the numbers, I went, but you pulled it off.
Oh yeah. We still
pulled it off.
We still hit numbers that a normal crew doing one does, and we did 2.
And you did too.
But we were all exhausted at the end of it.
So it's not sustainable.
Right. But I don't know. Maybe we'll improve the process.
There you go.
Yeah. It was
but you
just-
still did 2 in the time a crew does 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not bad for a prototype test.
Yeah.
On a process.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
not bad. That's a win, buddy.
Oh yeah. It was a win.
That's a win.
And we all felt
I
it at the
could
end of the
hear
day.
it in your voice when you called. Like, all right, we did it. We're not doing that again.
Well, there's improvement.
Yeah.
Needed on that.
Congrats. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You've got your own process. You've trained your own people. You've designed your own tools.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
It's been an exciting journey, and it's taken a long time to get to this point. That's why I was wanting to shout out to Brent and Chance, because without those two, I wouldn't have been given the opportunity to learn outside of the procedure. You know, and so yeah, shout out to those two guys for giving me some freedom to learn.
Oh, I love that. I'm sure they appreciate that, as do the folks that you've been helping over your career.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so one more week out and then home for a little while.
Yeah.
Hang out with the kids.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Get to play with the kids in the process of buying a house, be closer to them. So that'll be
right.
exciting. And
In Utah. I forgot the town again.
so
Oh, look, because I don't recognize the name.
it's a really tiny town, Enoch. It's just north of Cedar City. A lot of technicians that work out there at Milford would know Cedar City.
Enoch.
Enoch, yep.
Oh, 6 hours from here. That's not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Oh, outside of Cedar City. Yeah, of course. I've spent a lot of time in Cedar City.
Yeah, a lot of techs know Cedar City.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a cute little town, good place to raise a family.
Very cool. Oh, I thought you were further north before. In Utah.
No, 2 hours north of Vegas, basically.
I drove right through your town last month once. Well, through Cedar.
Yeah.
Yep. Cedar City, Utah. Utah was some of the most unique alcohol laws I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah. Well, it's owned by the church.
You know,
The alcohol licenses.
they require you to like pound your beers really fast at the restaurants.
What?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I haven't experienced that.
We're like at Applebee's or something like
Okay.
our equivalent.
Okay.
And there's three of us. We had a beer. We had just ordered, or no, sit and visit. And she came over and ordered. Does everybody like another beer? Yep. She came over, and
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
and those two were done, and I wasn't done. And she sits theirs down, and she stands there next to me. Didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Just holding it. I went, you can just put it there. She goes, no, the law says you can't have two in front of you. And I said,
Yeah.
oh, the state requires me to pound this beer in front of you?
Yeah.
This is a great law.
Yeah. I misunderstood what you were saying, but yeah, they
I
can't
know.
put.
I got to say it my way.
Yeah, for sure. Tells a better story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't, and you have to order food. You can't just get a beer.
Oh, okay.
You have to have food with it, even if it's French fries, right?
But the Mormon Church runs most of the government.
So, yeah,
The state?
they own all the liquor licenses, and so they sell a certain amount to different businesses like Applebee's.
okay.
And so, you're limited on how many bars can be built in a certain area, and the liquor stores are owned by the Mormon Church, and so it's all of them are closed on Sundays. Period.
Okay.
So yeah, it's unique, and the percentage is pretty low in comparison to most places.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't care. But I mean, if those laws work for that area, so be it.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
care.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
It's just standing there, just sort of staring at me.
Yeah, it's a good time. Good time.
All right. It's a beautiful area too.
Well, that's probably why I'm so into hiking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good area for hiking.
Yeah, more than half the state is national parks.
Have you done them all?
No, I've done all of them in the southern half.
Okay.
So Brian Head, Zions,
Yeah.
and so forth. But
Must have hit Moab.
of course, I hit
Yeah.
Moab, yeah. But I think there's one up north. I can't think of what it's called right now. I just haven't made it up there yet. So
Very cool. All right. Quattro, thanks
Yeah.
for stopping by.
Mr. T, it's always great seeing you.
I'm glad you were here. All right.
Yeah.
Safe trip out of here.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Adios.
much. It's a good time.